Have you ever wondered how big companies actually make sure they get paid? I mean, they're not just sending emails by hand, right? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the automated money machine that keeps businesses afloat. Let's dive in. Okay, think about this for a sec. It doesn't matter if you're a huge corporation or just a tiny startup. There's this one single headache that causes more stress, more sleepless nights than pretty much anything else. Any guesses what that is?
Yep, it's getting paid on time.
It sounds so simple, right? But the ripple effects of late payments, they can be absolutely devastating. You hear people say cash flow is king, but honestly, it's more than that. It's the literal lifeblood of a company. And when that gets clogged up, everything else just grinds to a halt.
So let's really dig into this problem. For a lot of businesses, especially the ones that don't have these big fancy systems in place, trying to get paid is it's a mess. It's manual, it's frustrating, and it's a never-ending battle. I mean, the old way of doing things is just total chaos. You've got people on your team spending hours, maybe even days, making phone calls, sending emails, just chasing money, instead of doing work that actually grows the business. And you know how awkward those, hey, where's my money conversations can be? It can really damage a good customer relationship. Plus, when it's all manual, mistakes are inevitable. Things get missed, and suddenly that cash flow you were counting on, well, it's not so reliable anymore. So, what's the solution? How do the smart companies handle this? Well, they build something kind of like a financial immune system. And the very first line of defense in that system is an automated reminder process. And that brings us to this term you might have heard of, dunning.
So what is dunning? Think of it like a polite but very, very persistent robot that never ever forgets to follow up. So instead of a person having to remember, oh, I need to email that client, the system just does it automatically. And the key here is that it's systematic. We're not talking about just one random email. No, this is a whole pre-planned escalating campaign. And this campaign works in stages, or what they call dunning levels. So level 1 might be a super friendly, gentle reminder that goes out, just a couple of days after the due date. If that doesn't work, the system automatically kicks it up to level 2, a more formal notice. Still nothing? Okay, here comes level 3, a much sterner warning. And the beauty of it is that every single step is perfectly timed and totally consistent, and nobody has to lift a finger to make it happen. Of course, automation can't solve everything. It definitely has its limits, and this quote here really hits the nail on the head. The whole point of the dunning process is to take care of the vast majority of late payments, maybe up to level 3 or 4. But after that, if someone still hasn't paid, the system is smart enough to just stop. It flags the account, and that's when a real person, maybe someone from the legal team, has to step in. The goal is simple. Automate the easy 95% of the work so your people can focus their brain power on the really tough 5%.
Okay, so these automated reminders, they're super powerful. But what if they're not enough? What happens when a customer just ignores all the warnings? Well, that's when the system has to move beyond just reminders and start adding some real financial consequences to the mix.
Right? I mean, this is the million-dollar question. If polite reminders and stern warnings both get ignored, what's next? The business needs another tool in its automated arsenal, one that makes it actually costly to be late. And this is where the next layer of that financial immune system kicks in: interest on arrears. It's basically an automated late fee. The system is programmed to look at an overdue balance, calculate an interest charge based on rules the company sets, and then bam, it automatically adds that charge right onto the customer's next bill. It's a very clear, very direct financial reason to pay up. Whoa, okay, now don't get overwhelmed by all the text on this screen. You don't need to read every single line. The only reason we're showing you this is to make a point. Setting this up is incredibly detailed. This isn't just some simple on-off switch. Businesses can go in and control every little detail of how, when, and even which customers get hit with these interest charges. So what all that technical stuff really boils down to is this: a business can create very specific, very powerful rules. They can set the exact interest rate. I mean, the source material we looked at even used 24% as an example, which is pretty steep. And they can choose to apply these rules to some customers, but not others. Then, the best part, they can just run the program automatically, maybe once a month, and it calculates and posts all of those interest charges in one clean shot.
But this kind of automation isn't just about chasing people who are late. Not at all. It's actually much bigger than that. It's about managing the entire flow of cash in and out of the business as efficiently as possible. Yeah, these same powerful systems are set up to handle all kinds of other financial stuff. Like, what do you do when a customer gives you a down payment or pays you in advance for a big project? The system handles all that. But honestly, one of the biggest, most game-changing time savers is automating how a company matches its own records to what the bank says happened.
And this slide really just says it all, doesn't it? The old way, oh man, it was a nightmare. You'd literally have an accountant sitting there with a paper bank statement and a highlighter manually ticking off every single line item against the company's books. It was slow, it was boring, and it was so easy to make a mistake. But now, the bank just sends over a digital file, an electronic bank statement. The system grabs that file, reads it, and uses those smart posting rules we talked about to automatically match everything up. Deposits get matched to customer invoices, payments get matched to bills, and what used to take a full week of someone's life now takes like a few minutes.
So when you start to put all these pieces together, you've got the automated reminders from Dunning, you've got the automated penalties with interest charges, and you've got this lightning-fast automated bank reconciliation. What you end up with is something that's, well, it's incredibly powerful.
And this is the payoff. This is why companies do it. First, your cash flow gets way healthier and way more predictable. Your finance team, they're no longer bogged down in boring manual work. They're freed up to actually think, to strategize. And because a computer is applying the rules, it's done perfectly, consistently, every single time. That means fewer errors and way tighter financial controls. It really does become that automated money machine we talked about at the beginning.
Which kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about, doesn't it? As these incredible machines handle more and more of the day-to-day financial grunt work, what does that mean for us? What are the human skills that become even more valuable? You know, things like high-level strategy, building real relationships with customers, or, hey, even being the person smart enough to design these systems in the first place. It's a really interesting shift, and it's happening right now. Something to chew on. Thanks so much for tuning in.